Finally you can breathe. Just an absolutely pulsating night of football. I mean, firstly, did this kick-off to the League of Clubs live up to your expectations?
Honestly, I think it surpassed. It's always going to be interesting to see how our first game goes. But for me, the atmosphere with the young boys getting to come out here and watch was magic, and maybe a little bit chaotic in some moments, not so controlled, but it's absolute magic. So I was really, really pleased. Yeah.
Obviously, you know, looking at that Braveheart squad, we weren't sure who was going to show up tonight, but they showed up with all the big guns. Yep. You know, it's a very experienced squad. You said to me when we spoke earlier today, we're gonna play a possession game, we're gonna play out the back, and we're not gonna compromise that. And your boys didn't compromise that, even under, you know, a very heavy press those first 20 minutes. How proud were you of the way that they just stuck to your philosophy?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the value we have in bringing back former Met Oval players that have moved on to college, is they know what we do, because we've been doing this for years. So really, really pleased, especially with the number of young U19 players that we put on the field that were able to step up to the level and still play with quality. Like you said, the first going was a bit rough. I don't think we were great to start the game, but once we settled in, I thought the quality of the football we played was, in moments, really, really elite. So
yeah. And talking about the U19 players, I think you had Kaza in the middle, who I thought was brilliant. And then your 17-year-old who came on in the middle of the park, Manor. I mean, why? You know, how is it that these boys, they're just showing no nerves, that they're absolutely going toe to toe with, you know, some of these guys are 26, 27-year-old, really, you know, experienced footballers, and they show no fear.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's credit, I think, to the work that the coaches have done with them before, and credit to their mentality that there's no fear stepping into the game. I think for Giacomo especially, I think he's always been behind the 8 ball given his size, so I think it is normal for him to have to step in and work and fight, and for him to have the quality he has, I think he's got a massive future. And then for Andy, obviously, it was a really good performance. Alex Posada started in the back line, and in the center as an 17-year-old, 18-year-old against these guys was really, really pleasing. I think that obviously we had a bunch of our staff over here as well, and I'm sure everyone's really, really proud that they can step in at this level, and for their development as well. Like the opportunity to play against these guys as they move into college next year is huge.
The game, you know, really took a swing in that first half with you guys turning the lead around, and like you said, after a slightly slow start, you really came into that half and started and finished the stronger. What was your talk to your boys at half-time?
I mean, I thought for me, I didn't touch much on the attacking side of the ball, just because that sorted itself out, and why mess with something that's not broken. We highlighted one little moment with our weak side forward in terms of his positioning, so we could really isolate their fullback and create a 2v1 with the wingback coming forward. Mostly, though, it was a little bit about our organization in the box to deal with some services, because they had some tricky wingers that were causing us some problems. And then just reiterating the intensity of our press, that when we press well, it was creating opportunities for us, and we really needed to make sure we stuck to it.
I thought probably the goal of the night was your third, where I think it came to Carlos down this side. You guys transitioned all the way back, and then Carlos diagonal run. You have only had, I think you said 4 sessions in total, the squad, and you've only had 3 with them. Yeah. Could you believe just how, you know, you look like a well-oiled machine. Yeah. Things were clicking really well.
No, I think that, again, and when I look at the club and the club philosophy, this is the value of it, right? Like, we only had 3 sessions, but all of these boys grew up with this style of play. So again, it's stepping back into it. It's what they're used to. It's the norm. And so I give a lot of credit to the club and the youth coaches that work with them, because it's just a progression of what we already do. And again, that's why we really wanted to stick with Met Oval players that had moved on, because we knew we could immediately implement the style that we wanted. So.
Finally, Met Oval, 100 years old this year. We're playing at the Dust Bowl, which I think we had a bit of an upgrade. Yeah. You know, you mentioned when we spoke earlier that it hasn't been a men's team for 13 years. You've won in front of a big crowd, full of young up-and-coming Met Oval players. How big does this moment feel in the club's history?
I mean, for me, it's massive. I was really just pleased with the crowd and the boys that were there watching. For me, it's always important to have guys you look up to, guys that you want to emulate. So for me, first and foremost, for those young boys and the opportunity they get to see a really high-level game and our style of play really kind of put together at the highest level, amazing for them. And I think for the club to kind of, again, really reach back into the history of the program and have that piece that can potentially get in the Open Cup, for the club, I think it's a massive piece. to make sure that kind of through all tiers we're really able to impact young men. And again, the soccer's awesome, but hopefully we're making really good young men that are going to go out and hopefully be great businessmen and great lawyers and great doctors. So.
Absolutely. Well, John, it was an absolute pleasure being down here. Thanks so much for you guys for bringing us down here. I'm certainly looking forward to the next game after tonight. So, yeah.
Appreciate it.
And I hope you get some well-deserved rest. Everyone's heart rate, I think, is going to be going for another hour.
That was a good one. Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Cheers. Thanks so much, John.